You guys like me?
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Well, whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?
Cowboys Nation, it's official. The Super Bowl is back on. Dave Sturchio alongside America's fan and, of course, the Grinch himself, Keith Ernst. Brett Ernst on assignment. The Dallas Cowboys get themselves a dub on Monday Night Football. I was there, and I'll be able to tell the story about being there for that night. It was a fantastic win for the Cowboys as they move to 4-5-1. This is the Jersey Boyz Podcast. If you're not familiar with the show, get familiar with the show. Subscribe to us on YouTube under Chop Sports Media. Away we go. Keith, my man. So obviously I didn't text a lot during the game because I could have, but my phone started to die, and I knew I had to meet your brother after. So I was like, man, if I keep texting, I'm going to lose him. So we didn't talk much during the game. The Cowboys get a big win. Your thoughts about overall performance and things that maybe kind of stood out to you?
Overall, that's obviously the best game we played all season. The defensive stops look like actual defensive stops, not
right.
The opposing offense making mistakes for us to make the defensive stop, if that makes sense. We were actually making the stops, which was nice to see. And, an offense played well. It's so hard to cover both those boys, man. It's so hard.
Not only that, cover them hungover. Did you hear all
exactly.
Are you hearing the reports about Lamb and Pickens?
Yeah. That's why they were out the first series. But
that's not even to me. That's not a punishment. It's just like oh, you bad boy, you're like you're not going to be able to go in there.
You're not above anyone. You're not going to sit all of them, obviously. The whole game, but it does show something like, hey, I know, I don't mind that.
Yeah, look, dude,
that bad of a punishment. I thought it was perfect because if they would have stayed out another series, wait, was it the first or the second series where Dak fumbled the ball?
Might have been the second one, but or at least the second or third. But I tell you what, man, from the crowd, you're obviously not getting much. You go on Twitter, you start, trying to figure out, all right, well, what's happening here? My first knee-jerk reaction was that they were doing it in honor of Marshawn. I don't know why. In my mind, I was like, we sit the first play out because it's for him or something. I don't know. That obviously wasn't the case. But as soon as I saw Jalen Tolbert and Ryan Flournoy out there, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. And what's how are they hurt? Did they get hurt in warmups? Like what did I miss? So it's hard to tell when you don't have the broadcast in your ear. But like I said, I took to Twitter for a little while just to try to figure out what the hell was going on. But look, man, if CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens want to go out gambling every night for the rest of this season, they should be allowed, as both of those guys combined for over 200 yards receiving, which it is a pick your poison type offense, man. It really is. When they're rolling and they can protect Dak, and that was against Max Crosby too. So you could tell he was breathing down his neck a little bit every time he rolled out. So it was.
Did you see at the end of the game when we were trying to down it and he was trying to rush still?
I think that was more joking and having fun, to be honest with you. I don't think there was any ill will.
I do. I think it was May joking, but I think he had a little chip on his shoulder because of the whole trade thing.
He's probably looking at it now saying, I wish I got traded, but
we really don't know what transpired during that trade process.
No,
they could have turned something down, that Cowboys or something.
Well, that's what we heard originally going into the trade deadline, is that the Cowboys made an offer and got rebutted. They just said, no, we're good. So it wasn't like Jerry was going deep diving, and we wound up landing one of the best, if not the best, defensive tackle in football in Quinnen Williams, and he showed up and showed out on Monday night. He looked like he belonged. He looked like he picked up the playbook relatively with ease. When you're a nose tackle, 1 tech, 3 tech, those guys, you do need to know a lot of stuff, but at the same time, you know what your job is. And I think he did his job really well. Given now, we talked about, you spoke about the defense getting stops and how exciting that was, because it's been a foreign thing for us for pretty much all season. are you looking at this as it was the Raiders, or are you looking at it as these guys were flying around, this could translate into something better?
Well, it's still a professional football team regardless. But yes, you have to look at that as well. I mean, this could be the worst offense we went against all season. Maybe them and the Jets, I would say.
Well, it's funny, guy. I texted my dad at halftime. I said, this is giving me very Jets vibes right now. Like the same game, like you had the lead, you were, scored a couple touchdowns by chance. You know what I mean? Like you drove right down the field. That's what it was given. And I thought to myself, like, there's probably no way that the Raiders with their firepower, and look, Janty's a great runner, but boy, did they hold him in check. I think into the fourth quarter, the Raiders as a whole were only at like 20 yards rushing.
Yeah, it was I think it was the lowest rushing total since the Giants game.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say, though,
Russ also threw for 500 yards, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I was going to say with the game, yeah, and even the Jets game, like I said, they had two 4th and 1s, and I think Fields threw for, if I'm not mistaken, he's still, and I know you said it was garbage time or whatever it was, but he still threw for like 300 yards or something. Yeah. So this game here, I mean, everyone was put into check almost. I mean, they had some drives, but Geno, that died out a little bit, but that's going to happen because it's the NFL. But like I said, I think this is the worst offense. As a matter of fact, I was reading that the Raiders haven't scored 30 points in a game since 2023.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's very, for me, any improvement to this defense is impressive. And that's what makes it impressive, but I'm not on the playoff train yet.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't right now with the Cowboys having that tie.
It is. It's too little too late. And I still don't know. I mean, these next 3 games are going to tell us a lot. And we got to take one, each one a minute just to see where we are with the defense. Cause we know the offense is going to have some bad games but we already know they're good. With the defense, it's more, we still don't know if they're average yet.
Right. You know what I mean? And I saw a clip, I guess it was on First Take this morning. And of course, look, it's the Cowboys. So you're going to boost it a little bit, and people are going to, as soon as you say the word Cowboys in the algorithm, people are just like, oh, your ears perk and everything goes crazy. But Peter Schrager said that this stretch of games coming up, like, look, Dak's played great MVP type level all season long. He really has. There's nothing you can say about his play and his delivery. It's the defense that just like couldn't stop anything at some points. But when I heard Peter Schrager say that this right here, and look, we've been rooting for Dak Prescott for 10 years now, so it's not like this is a foreign thing for us to be behind the kid. But what I will say is, Schrager said it. He goes, this stretch of games, whether it be Philly on national TV on the 4:00 hour, everybody's going to be watching you. You got Thanksgiving coming up against the Chiefs. The world has got your team on, right? And then you got another Thursday night football game in front of the entire world, nobody else up on TV against the Detroit Lions. Now, 2 of those games are home. Obviously, the Philadelphia game and the Chiefs game coming up. But then, we go on the road to Detroit. But he said that this stretch of games could be a legacy-defining like thing for Dak Prescott. If he can go out there and look, again, can't get ahead of ourselves. We got Philadelphia Eagles that are best in the NFC right now. But I look at this as if the Cowboys, for whatever reason, run the table and not run the table the whole season. I'm talking about these 3 games, and Dak puts up the numbers he has to put up, and the defense gets the stops they need to get. And all of a sudden, you get these 3 games in a row. When this schedule came out, Keith, we all looked at each other like, "Oh, Jesus," you know what I mean? But if they can get this done, now, not
2 weeks ago, we looked at each other like, "Oh,
right." So you're looking at this stretch of games, and you're like, "Man, if Dak can put it together." And they can sustain and time of possession and everything we always talk about every week, and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens do their thing, it would be kind of crazy to think that if they can't win these next 3, if they win the next 3, they're just going to be sitting there at 7-5-1. You're in the hunt. Right now, you're sitting there at the 10 seed because of the tie, right? Because now you have 1 less loss, as I believe Minnesota. So now you're sitting there at the 10 seed. So now you're in striking distance of a wild card, which again, far-fetched, 2-3 games out with 7 to go. So a lot of things got to happen. The Cowboys lost a lot of games this year already where we're like, shit, now what? You know what I mean? But I think that if Prescott can come out and do his thing and get 2 of these games, right? And you get yourself 6 wins and you'll be 6-1 with, I guess, 5 to go. You got a legitimate shot to do some, make some noise. And I agree with Schrager. If he runs the table, people are going to start talking about Prescott and the Cowboys as a legitimate threat, like almost like a tongue in cheek. Don't let us in. Don't let us in. You know what I mean? Don't let us into the playoffs because if they do and they continue to play the way they can play, I think the sky's the limit for this team. But I mean, if anything else, if nothing else, I'm pumped for 2026 because you got yourself 2 first-round picks. You got a bunch of the boys coming back. You would think they were going to come back, the Pickens and the Javantes of the world and, guys like that. But, I mean.
It'll be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be – we're going to have to do some, salary cap gymnastics.
You know what, though? You know what I would like if I was running a team, and I know it sounds crazy. I mean, there are certain skill positions that you need, but I think the least amount of money I would put into players might be defensive backs. And the only reason I'm saying that is I know it sounds nuts, but if you have a fucking stellar defensive line, you just need an NFL player back there playing DB. I'm not discrediting them. It's a very difficult position, but an NFL, the difference between the greatest NFL corner right now in the NFL and say the second best is what? A millisecond of getting to a ball maybe or something like that. Regardless, if you have a D line and if you have those linebackers that can rush and get to the quarterback within 2 or 3 seconds or whatever it may be, just about any NFL caliber cornerback can cover for that amount of time. So all I'm saying is we put a lot of money in Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs. We need to recycle that money, or however you want to say, refunnel it into this defensive line, keep this guy around from the Jets, Quinnen Williams, get other defensive linemen, get other linebackers that can fill holes. And, so I'm just speaking of the future now, obviously, but anyways, I was just thinking that because I mean, like just seeing the difference of Deron Bland's game stepped up too. If you notice all these other
significantly, and it's one thing to cover Keith, but it's also like he batted a couple balls away too.
Yeah. And he was under duress, Geno Smith. I mean, we were getting in his face, and that makes these corners, any cornerback in the NFL, not any cornerback playing anywhere. I'm not talking about the cornerback playing flag football on the beach on Saturdays. All right. I'm talking about NFL caliber cornerbacks that, you pay good money for, but not crazy amount of money for.
Yeah. I mean, all signs point to, again, just based off the tea leaves you read and the vibes, Trayvon might be on his way out. Right. And that's a significant chunk of change that you're going to save however you move him, right? I don't think it's going to be an outright cut. I think maybe they try to get some value for him in the offseason. I don't know how that's going to go, but this defensive secondary was playing without Trayvon Diggs on Monday. And again, when you're looking at the Raiders and they're like, oh, it's Trey Tucker. And it's like, guys like that, you're like, oh, all right, well, they're serviceable. They're good. But income, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, like guys like that. And you're like, all right, now you got to like pick it the fuck up. You know what I mean? And, I agree with you wholeheartedly as far as like funneling the money to where we absolutely need it. From what I think is going to happen, you might get a franchise tag on George Pickens just to give himself another grace period of a year to negotiate something longer, let the salary cap go up, all the things that factor into these guys' price tags. Because I believe if I read it correctly, I think it's around $30-something million a year for the franchise tag for a wide receiver. So if you think about it, receivers are getting into the 40s now. So you would save money there if you went that route. Now, again, if you walked out the door, you're getting a compensatory 3rd-round pick, right? I don't see that happening. I just see there's too much, like even after the benching of that first drive, and then these guys are both starting to ball out. CD catches a touchdown. George Pickens made a play the other day where I was just talking to my dad on the phone about it. He goes, it looked fake on how easy it was for him to make it one cut and just waltz into the end zone. Like there was nobody around. And I'm like, Wait, nobody wanted to tackle him. Nobody, right? So like, you really need this unit together. I think one more time, like this year, obviously. Huh?
I said it'd be nice if they could do it. If they can,
I think they don't have a choice, right? They're seeing what they can do on the field right now. I don't think there's going to be much of a choice in the matter.
Yeah, I mean, and this is why I was a huge George Pickens fans last season when I was watching him on the Steelers, and I even said I thought he was, I thought he's might be the best receiver in the league, and that's a bold statement with Justin Jefferson and a lot of other receivers. But I'll be honest, man, the only reason I wouldn't take, and I love CeeDee Lamb, but I'm thinking as talent. The only reason why I wouldn't is Pickens is just I don't know about his personality, the personal. I mean, he's always one personal foul away, it seems, because he's very passionate and he that's how he plays. And with that comes what you're watching. You can't take. I don't know if you could take one away and still have the other.
I don't think so either. I think they play. I mean, look, what we saw to George Pickens when Lamb was down with an injury, we're like, wow, he is wide receiver one. He can be wide receiver one. All that's fun. But when you get both of those boys on the field together, man, and Schottenheimer's dialing it up and he's in his bag with the routes and all the play calling and stuff like that, and then supplement the running game. Once again, Javonte Williams looked like a bowling ball. He really does. Like, when you're able to, there's such a significant difference when you can rip off a 6 to 7 yard run on first down rather than a 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you set up yourself second and short, the playbook goes from this to this. And I just feel like with a decent running game, the offensive line has kept Dak upright for the most part all season long. They've had some flub ups. We get that, right? But like, those guys are playing very well too. If Max Crosby's not able to register anything on the stat sheet, like, that says something about guys like Terrence Steele, who we're like, every week we're looking to find ways to bench this guy, or just Guyton. Sometimes we're like, he's too young, he's too raw, we don't know, blah, blah, blah. No, he's doing his job too. And then Tyler Smith and Tyler Booker and Cooper Beebe. Like, these guys have all really gelled as an offensive line. And I'm not sure when the last time we had an offensive line that gelled this good right now. So no, they're all, it's definitely very talented. And look, man, week one, we have to backtrack because we're going all the way. There's only so much you could say about the Raiders Cowboys game. They played very well, but now it's like the focus is on Philadelphia, right? And I do want to touch on things I noticed. The new linebacker, the white boy from the Bengals, Logan Wilson. Yeah, what's his name? Logan Wilson. Yeah. He played well, and what I noticed with him was his pass coverage, man. Really, really good. He gets back there fast. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I know they're just breaking him in, and we'll see how he does against the run. But defending the pass, when I was watching the game again, man, he gets back there, bro. Like, he is in the windows where they're going to be thrown faster than a lot of the other linebackers that I've seen us play with. And people don't know Damone Clark was released. And who picked him up? Oh, the Texans picked him up, by the way. Oh, really? I didn't even see he didn't get past waivers, huh? No, they picked him up. I didn't even notice it. Honestly, when they released him, waived him, he's subject to waivers, and you're like, all right, he'll get through, and maybe we'll bring him back on the practice squad. The fact that he didn't get through, look, man, we've seen it. There's glimpses of okay in there, right? But it's just, it was just too. See, my whole thing with this Sturch, and this is what I've been saying, and this is why you need contact, real contact in preseason games. I meant not just a series. I'm talking about playing at least 3 quarters. You need contact because everybody. I say shoulder pads and shorts. You say shells. You got a lot of superstars and shells that are filling holes and doing everything right. And this guy's having a fantastic camp. He's all over the place. They're going 70%. You need to go 100% for 4 quarters or close to it to really see how good a player is. And he has yet to fulfill that once. I understand he was a training camp star, with his shorts and shoulder pads on, flying around the field everywhere. But it's a different game when you're in full pads and going 100%. It's a totally different game. 100%. And speaking of line, I wish him well.
And you notice I didn't call him Gavone Clark because I do feel bad. A man lost his job, but he did gain it back with the Texans. So
then he's Gavone
good
again.
for him. Yeah, he could do Gavone again. Yeah.
Anyways, but speaking of linebackers, we got the debut of Overshawn, and to me, like, he said it himself that there's a lot left that he could have done in that game. And again, there wasn't many splash plays. There was one that Shamar James had tipped up in the air. We got a Marquise Bell interception out of that. We got a bunch of sacks, a couple from Quinnen, a couple from Kenny Clark, right? And Donovan Izaraku is flying around the ball. So everything's looking good.
Boy, now that guy right there, man, that kid right there, that boy, he could. Woo, man, I am watching him, and he led the
nation in sacks last year, man.
Week, he's getting better every single week. And you look, and it's like, the thing, he kind of reminds me, and I know it sounds crazy, like his first step, kind of a Micah type to get to the quarterback. But the difference between him and Micah is, man, can he crash on the run? I mean, he was one of the main ones in the safety. When we got the safety, I mean, dude, this kid, for him to be a rookie and playing the way he's playing now, love it. And he's getting better and better by the week, and he's going to help this defense as well.
He led the nation in sacks last year at Boston College. So it's like, there's something to that, right? The entire nation, right? He was the guy. So everybody's playing great. And then Overshawn comes back. He's flashing around. Man, the closing speed of Overshawn. And sometimes when I see an outside run, sometimes I won't even watch the play. I'll just watch Overshawn just because it's that like fun to watch on how fast this dude could be.
Yeah.
And I'll watch them and I'm like, damn, bro, it's so refreshing to have some speed in the linebacker core now, from side to side speed. And that's the hard part. And I was
going to say, bring up if you all were listening to the last episode, I think it was the last one we did. I was asking Sturch, what happened to that defensive back that Jesse Holley brought up?
Right. Right.
And I kept thinking Avion Kaysen, because Avion Kaysen was a running back for the Cowboys in the Parcells era.
I remember him.
I believe. And he was on the lines too, maybe. But regardless, doesn't matter. But I knew Kaysen. I couldn't remember. And then Sturch texted me later and he gave me the name. Like, oh, and sure enough, that he's showing up the next game. And
Kalen Carson.
He played every play, you said, right?
Kalen Carson was the only one that logged every snap. Every snap on defense, he was on the field. And that's something that, like, again, guys like him, we got the debut of Revel. We also have like Josh Butler in the back pocket. Like, these guys are like, look, they're young, they're inexperienced, but like what we saw out of Carson, and like you said, we refer back to the Jesse Holley episode from 2 years ago, where Jesse Holley was talking to Al Harris, and Al Harris was like, hey, we got ourselves another amazing corner that's down the pike, and we're like, oh my god, and we're pumped, and we're all hyped up, and nothing really came to fruition. But you watch the game on Monday night and you're like, dude, this guy doesn't leave the field. Like, that's again, Belichick says it best: the best availability, or the best ability is availability, right? And he showed that he was available throughout the entire game. And like, look, again, you want to look at this as it's the Raiders, go for it. You can do that all you want, but guys like Geno Smith have won a lot of football games in this league, and he looked completely lost. His routes that the guys were running, he was throwing so prematurely because he was just got people in his face that the routes just looked horrific, right?
Yeah,
guys,
don't forget the last time we played him.
Last time we played him was that the Seattle game?
Night game. He lit us up on that Thursday night game. It was like 500 yards in that game, I think.
Right. So, like, he's not an incompetent quarterback. Obviously, the Raiders thought they had something when they landed him in free agency, right? They're like, okay, this is a new coach. I want Geno. Like, that was the thing, right? So he didn't play very well. Obviously, they're not equipped with a lot of guys. What's this guy's going to be an absolute stud forever? He'll be a top 10 pick in the fantasy drafts next year.
Bowers? Bowers?
Yeah. That dude is – what a stud tight end he is. And he was getting open a lot the other day. So, but again, he was missing him wide open sometimes. Like, if you just waited another nanosecond for him to make his break, Geno was like, somebody was in his face. He's like, fuck it. They just threw it as fast as he could.
Yeah.
And so, again, great defensive effort. Is it the Raiders, or is it something to build on? And you wonder about, I mentioned the offensive line before, about how they were playing well, keeping Dak upright. if you reverse it all the way back to week 1, now we all know about the CeeDee Lamb drops and how the game could have changed significantly had he come down with 2 of them, right? But there was another moment pregame that we didn't have to deal with Jalen Carter the entire game. So now you got to deal with Jalen Carter the entire game. I guarantee you he's going to be 60 yards away from the closest Cowboy during pregame warmups or whatever. He's not. They're not going to take any chances this time around because the Cowboys offense was humming on Monday night, and they're trying to continue that motivation and momentum going back home. Now, again, to me, there was a lot, and I don't know if you watched Sound of the Sidelines yet. It was very well done, very good. Mm-hmm. But like that pregame speech that Dak was giving, they didn't hold back. They basically said, like, this one's for Marshawn Nealon. Yeah. You better present yourself as if you're playing for him, right? Like, so again, are there bounces of the balls that won't go certain ways and a fumble and a pick and this, that, and a third that can happen in a football game? Sure. But one thing you can't contest about the Cowboys game on Monday was their effort. Everybody was flying around. Everybody was on the same page. Can they take that energy, Keith, into a game where it's their first home game without Marshawn Nealon now? Can they take that energy? How do you see, not without giving like an overall prediction right away, but like when you see the Eagles and you see what they just did with the Lions, and it took a phantom PI call to get that game won. So I don't give a shit what anybody says. That was not even close to interference.
Yeah.
And they've been in a lot of close games throughout the course of the year. They haven't lost much. They did lose to the Giants somehow, right? Like they've lost some shitty games, but they've also beat some really good teams. How do you think this one kind of going into the week? How do you feel this one's going to shake out?
I think the Marshawn Nealon passing is something that is going to. I mean, it's there, and I think that there is going to be emotion all throughout the season, but nothing is going to top that first game that they played with the. I know it's their first home game, but that's one thing. The emotions were really high for that. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you do remember, but a few years back, I'm going to say 2017 or 16 or 15. I can't really remember. Maybe even 2013, maybe, but. Probably 2013, 12 when remember Josh Brent got in the car accident.
Yeah.
What was the name of that linebacker that passed? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I
remember the incident, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, we were actually huge underdogs to play the Bengals. And we stepped up in that game and won that game, and very emotional, a lot of our players afterwards, and
I think that was 2013, as a matter of fact.
2012
or 2013. Because I remember going to a certain bar after unfortunately, I had to attend a funeral or a service or something like that. And after that service, I remember going to a bar to watch that game, and I remember all the stuff that was going on leading into that. But yeah, I mean, look, like obviously, what had transpired with Marshawn Nealon, we didn't even get a chance to really cover it because it was during the Cowboys bye week. We took a week off, so we really couldn't get into it. We're not going to get all into it right now, but yeah. Again, it does lift your sparks a little bit.
And I'm glad, but I'm so happy and that's another thing. You don't know how people react to, because I believe it was I don't know what Dallas Cowboy, but somebody got in his inbox or his DM or whatever the hell you want to call it, and was like, "Oh, you better show up now." That Marshawn Nealon passed.
That was a retweet, and that was shit. No, not the free safety. The drawing a blank right now. I don't know why.
Is it Bell?
No. It was the one he migraines. The same guy. The guy struggling with migraines has been out. He's on IR now. Shit. I don't know. I'm just drawing a blank. But anyway.
But regardless, that bothered me.
He retweeted. He said something like, he's like, dude, don't even try to put that kind of shit on us where we got to now we're going to step up. Like,
that's what bothered me with the Nealon thing. I was, because I know they don't need to hear that from people. Because when you hear that from people,
Wanye
Thomas. Yeah. So when you hear that from fans or whoever they are, it takes away from. Just let them play it out. They don't need to hear that from you. You better do this now. Like that kind of, I don't know, desensitizes or just not. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just not
100%.
It's not the same thing from them. They know it. You don't need to fucking tell them that, because now when you tell them that, it's like, you know what? Fuck these fans. don't tell me that kind. Don't disrespect us that way.
Yeah.
It's it was their friend. It was their family member, their locker room boy like that. They know. They don't need to hear it from some, fucking fantasy player or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's frustrating. It is.
I remember when I saw that. When I saw that in real time, when he put it out there, he's like, you got to be kidding me with this shit. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, I was like, man, this fan base can really be off-putting sometimes, right? And like, obviously,
and that's what social media is, right? You're always going to have somebody like, what I remember too is, and I still remember this. It was I was listening. This is before we even met, Sturch, obviously, because this is when Adrian Peterson was playing for the Vikings, and I remember his son passed away.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to Sirius NFL Radio, and somebody called up, and this caller's like, "Oh, I can't, I can't wait to see the players, the defensive players that Adrian Peterson's going to run over and just cracking their heads with his knees, just because he's going to be so angry, that he lost his kid and this and that." And I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck. How do you know how anyone's going to? And just the way the guy said it was just kind of like I don't know. It was annoying. It annoyed me that he would say something like, you don't know how he's handling this.
You forget that these people are human beings. You know what I mean? Like, are they there for our entertainment? Yeah, but they're also getting paid millions of dollars to play a kid's game. We all know that, right? But like, this is our entertainment. These are our heroes and our juggernauts that are on the field, right? And I remember seeing the backlash about this past Monday. I don't know if you saw that Cam Scatterbo went out and watched John Cena's last Raw in Madison Square Garden. And people are like, "What are you doing, bro? You're fucking hurt. What are you doing there?" And I'm like, what do you want these guys to do? Do you want them to just
doesn't he have a broken ankle or some shit?
Yeah, and he has a walking boot and shit. What, you're supposed to stop your life because you're injured? Stop
your life, but he did get up kind of fast in his face.
I mean, again, it's wrestling, so you know how to handle yourself. And like, I'm sure they went up to him like, "Hey, man, he's gonna mush you, and you're gonna mush him back, and you're not gonna do much."
I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, wait, isn't he? That's why I'm asking, like, what was his injury? Because he did come up kind of quick. But you're right. He probably has a boot on and nothing can happen.
Nothing. And like the fans are like, "You should be rehabbing. You should."
But in the fans' perspective, he wasn't just sitting there watching. It looks like he was trying to get involved. I think that's why they were like,
which again, it's wrestling, it's drama, it's theater. You know what I mean? Like when I tell you. It's all good.
Right? You of all people know.
Right. So like of all people, I know how they can get the inner workings and get like some buzz, like, ooh, Giants defensive line and the rookies are out at Raw. Like, will somebody step up? You know what I mean? Like, they can do all that, but like the fans are like, "You should be rehabbing 24/7, get back on the field." Like, dude, like, I'm sorry. Well, like, players lose their goddamn minds and all they have to do is rehab.
You got to live your life, yeah, but you don't.
Absolutely.
But he shouldn't be part of a wrestling script. I think that's the problem. That's what people are, worried about.
Fine, but again, whatever. Anyway.
But let's be honest, though. What if he got up really fast, okay? And because he doesn't want to put pressure on his one ankle that's in a booth, he puts it in the other and then fucking snaps that.
Well, I mean, that goes back to like I don't know if you're a baseball guy, but like, Yoenis Cespedes signed with the Mets for a massive deal, right? And he was like horseback riding, and he got off the horse and like tore his Achilles and missed an entire season, right?
Whoa,
I'm like,
right. But he was.
I'm like, you motherfucker!
Already.
Like, what?
He wasn't injured already.
No. He hurt himself doing something.
That's the whole thing. Is that? But I think with this is that Scatterbo's injured already. If he wasn't injured, they wouldn't give two shits. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I try to think about it from like my perspective. Like right now, the Cowboys don't have anybody, knock on wood, anybody injured significantly outside of like Trayvon Diggs. But if Trayvon Diggs was out there and he got involved, I personally don't even care for Trayvon Diggs anyway. So like, I don't really give a fuck. Yeah. But like, all right, for instance, when Dak broke his ankle, right, in 2020, if he showed up at Monday Night Raw in Texas, right, and he's in the front row and he's getting involved with somebody, I probably would feel some sort of way where I'm just like, hey man, like.
But I think with you, it's all theater and they're joking,
right?
But even like, all right, so there you go. Let's pose this question: would people get upset if Cam Scatterbo is in a Broadway play with his broken ankle, starring on Broadway right now.
Yeah, he's gonna fucking play Hamlet. Like
in Chicago. He's doing Chicago. He's in the Chicago play.
Right? Yeah, whatever, man. It's just a non-factor, but I just got it. But again, this goes back to what we were talking about with Marshawn Neal, and it's like people trying to tell people how to feel. Like that's another thing that maybe it's just a personal thing, but I never know when it's okay to like resume being me. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get the news about Marshawn Neal, and like, how am I supposed to tweet out about 3-4 defense or something like that? You know what I mean? You're like,
yeah.
When do you know it's time? And you got to go based off of the other guys and what the Cowboys have done so far to honor Marshawn. What the NFL has done to honor Marshawn has been really, really great, right? I'm sure they'll have something. Schottenheimer alluded to it yesterday in his press conference that they might have something, special plan for his family and stuff like that for the game, right? But that's not going to sit there and quote light a fire. What they're going to do is they're going to try to play their hearts out for their lost brother. That's it. Period. Stop. You let them handle and cope however they want. Because I said it during the week, some guys need to get back on the field, right? To just take your minds off it. Some guys need to be alone and just not talk to anybody, and they don't want to see anything to do with football. It really all is on everybody as an individual basis. But hopefully, we'll see something really cool for Marshawn Neal on Sunday. But speaking of Sunday, obviously we're starting to talk about the Eagles, and they've won a lot of games so far this season, and you can't take anything away from any of these guys. They're playing their asses off. Everybody's really, their secondary is very, very good.
Sturch, I'm not really good on social media, everybody, just so you know. I try. I mean, a little bit, I guess. And I got on Twitter. You'll come
to bat for me every so often on Twitter.
Yeah, I got on Twitter just to defend Sturch. And then Sturch posted something on Twitter, and it had the head coach of the Eagles. What's his name again? Fucking
Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, Sirianni. Yeah, I always confuse him and Sal. I don't know why. But Sirianni is on there, and he's like pointing, and he has this big smile on his face. And Sturch is like, there's a face I want to punch more than this guy's face. Something to that order. I went to the comments, and I was like, I don't know how you do it, buddy. I mean, that's why I can't get on social media. The way he's being talked to by mostly Eagle fans. I mean, I literally wanted to jump in and start swinging on people for Sturch. Like, just the way they talk, it's just like, nobody, you fat fuck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, nobody at this point in my life, if I was. By
the way, Sturch is not overweight. He's a big dude. He's not overweight.
I'm a solid bigger guy, right?
He's like a wrestler, dude.
Former wrestler, right?
Fat? No.
So here you go. Look, the Basement Boys. Nobody likes that prick Sirianni. I can't stand him. Coming off that's from X. So no, but for
remember
me,
the one Sturch really quick where they're like, "Yeah, come to Philly. I'll punch you in your fat face." It's like, Jesus,
listen. I'll be honest with you. I don't read them all, right? I just typically, if I know it's blowing up, which it did, right? It really did. Like it took
which is good to the point where, right? That's not good for you.
Oh, dude, I saw it reached like a 250,000 people, right? So I'm like, that's great, for my brand, for my voice, like all that. That's all fun and games. And I said something. I said, there's not a more punchable face in the NFL. I'm not telling any tales out of school. He's got a punchable fucking face, all right? In fact, I have a brother-in-law who looks like him. So every time I see him, I'm like, oh, motherfucker. Like, I just want to punch my own brother-in-law. But like, dude, for the comments and the people that are like, if I was a freshman in high school, Keith, I'd be like, oof, man, this is going to fuck my week up, right? Like, I am a 40-year-old man with a wife, kids, and a mortgage. Some douchebag that has Jalen Hurts as his profile picture calling me a fat fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, I used to, right? I would come back. And then like some of Cowboys Nation crept up for me, which thank you, right? Some guy was like, replied to somebody like, nice neck beard, you fuck, or something like that. Yeah. Right. There was a couple people that stood up for me.
No,
but look,
you can't. I mean, you can't. No, you can't. That's the whole thing. I think I'm not getting political here, but Candace Owens, actually, I heard her in her interview, and she mentioned that that she'll post something and she will never go to the comments. She goes, "You can't. It's poisonous. Like, just don't."
It's absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
people
you
are
just
telling
don't
you.
read it. You just don't go there. You don't
Like,
worry about what people are saying about you. You know,
there are.
you
but-
express your opinion, and that's all that matters.
And you go. Right. And you
I
go
mean-
on your way. And usually I do, right? But like, but here's the thing. 9 times, maybe 10 times out of 10, the people that are replying these vulgar, nasty things, they have a username that doesn't make any sense, or they have like no picture or a picture of like an anime character or some shit, like just a complete nozzle of a human being. And like, there are some nasty people out there, especially after the Marshawn Nealon thing. You would think that, like, you question, you're like, who the fuck raised you? Like, who the fuck raised you? Because it's brutal. Some of these people are brutal.
Yeah.
But back to Sirianni's punchable face. No, the Eagles have won a lot of games this year. They're a good fucking team. There's no, we're not cakewalking around this, or like, oh, well, I said a couple weeks back that they had holes. And remember that was another thing that fucking blew up in my face. I'm like, this team is beatable, right? And this was, I believe, before we lost to Carolina or some shit. I was like, if we could just get this win and the Eagles will lose these next 2 games. They're not losing games, right? And however you want to do it, whether it be tush pushing your way down the field, or, Saquon Barkley hasn't really looked like Saquon Barkley this year, especially not the 2,000-yard rusher from last year. A.J. Brown literally said, like, bitches and moans every single week after wins. That makes no sense to me, man. Like, your team just won a football game. Your entire team just won a football game. You're out there saying, well, if you got me on fantasy, you might as well trade me or cut me.
I think that's what it comes down to. Is that he doesn't think they get along. And I think, who pointed that out? Someone did. I think it was Deshaun Jackson. And he's like, that's what's going on. It's like, if I've been in those situations where you just don't like the quarterback no matter what, and they just don't like each other. That's what's, and
you know what? And I haven't, obviously, again, people can crush me for this take, but like, I haven't seen a game yet within the Philadelphia Eagles schedule where Jalen Hurts was the reason they won a football game, right? Like, he's a good quarterback. He can definitely drop him in the bucket from time to time. He could put some heat on it if he needs to. He can run. Obviously, he ran all over us week 1. They had no answer, right? But like, he is not this all-world, all-beater quarterback that everybody, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I might now here. I do. Look, man, he's been to 2 Super Bowls.
Fair, but I'm saying he's not the reason.
The way he's playing at this particular time. Yeah, okay. But I meant he is a franchise quarterback, I think.
I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
I think he is. I meant, and also I don't. Here's the thing. You're right. He hasn't done anything to win it, but he also hasn't done anything to lose it, if that makes sense. Like, he's just, he's not throwing stupid interceptions or anything like that to give the other team, which could definitely happen, especially when you're not moving the ball. You know what I mean? I mean, Detroit, we already talked about it. Those going on those 4th downs. I mean, I get it. If it's this guy's going for it on 4th and 3, 4th, and what the fuck are you doing, man? This
isn't any longer like, oh, I got the biggest set of nuts in the room, right? Like, at first it was cool. And I said that to you guys when we talked about Dan Campbell a million times. Like, at first it's like, wow, man, this guy, bro, he just don't, like, might as well just cut your punter. You're never going to use, like, at first it was cool. Now you're putting your team in a completely different situation. Like, you're not
wins if he doesn't do that.
100%. 100% Detroit wins that game if he doesn't gamble 5 times. Like, I said mathematically, just like my dad says about the Super Bowls, like, we should have won one by accident. You should convert 1 4th down by accident at that point. You can't go 0 for 5. That's insane, right? Yeah. So I look at this Eagle team as dominant but beatable. I truly believe that. I'm not saying that they're like, no. I could be completely off base. We can go and watch this game on Sunday and they can run us out of our own stadium. I don't know. But what I will say is,
dude, it's and here's the thing, man. I know rivalries are not the same as they were in the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s, you would say. It's not the same when you could be playing for the person playing against you. I mean, it's, next season you could be playing with them, be teammates with them. It's like, my point is, back in the 80s, you'd have never seen Randy White going to the Redskins in a million fucking years.
No.
Now they're all over the place. So it is not the same, but there is something there. We're not afraid of them. You get what I'm saying? We don't care what their record is.
No.
Dak Prescott has a pretty good record against them.
Does.
The Dallas Cowboys in general, we see him twice a year. Even last year, if Jason Garrett almost said it, fucking Cooper Rush, the other redhead.
They're all
Cooper
fucking
Rush.
spineless gingers.
Well, how about that? I just realized that. I wonder if we've had the most ginger quarterbacks start for us. Jason Garrett, Andy Dalton, Cooper Rush. That's three
right there. I'm sure Clint Stoner somewhere along the line had red hair or something.
Maybe Clint Stoner did have red hair. Did Ryan Leaf?
Quincy Carter. Keep going.
Anyways, so even last year, our defense, believe it or not, against Jalen Hurts, they played really well. We couldn't move the ball. That was the problem last year. That was Cooper Rush's. That game was right after the Atlanta game, I remember. And we couldn't do shit. Defense, actually, I remember even Trayvon Diggs had a good pick in the end zone. Like, defense came. Offense couldn't move. So that's not going to happen with this offense, as far as I see. My gut is telling me the offense is, I don't care who it is. I don't care. I'm not with this particular offense and the way they're playing. I don't care what defense you're rolling out right now. I just don't. I don't. I'm not saying we're going to score, on every drive. I'm not going to say we're not going to struggle a little bit, but if our defense can maintain and just do what every other defense has been doing to the Eagles, their offense, there hasn't been some huge offensive explosion as what Sturch is talking about. If they can maintain and do that, okay, we have a really good chance of winning this game. And it might even be by double digits.
Well, interesting. Yeah.
That's this game I'm talking about now. And like I said, it's because it's a division game. It's a divisional game. Neither of these teams are scared of each other. We don't give a fuck if they were 10-0. They don't care. They just don't. We play you guys all the time. We know these players. We know your quarterback. You know our quarterback. Let's get at it. Let's do it. Throw everything out the window.
And like I said, there's not going to be any pregame extracurriculars where somebody's going to lose a star player. They're going to be at full strength. We're going to be at full strength. I know there was some kind of worry about Dak's hip, but he said if there was a short week, he'd be in tonight playing. So it's one of those things where he's a little sore, banged up. Probably took a couple hits on Monday. Listen, I think the Cowboys are very well equipped now. Talk to me 3 weeks ago. I say, we're going to get the shit kicked out of us. It's going to be brutal. But you literally added, and again, kudos to the Jones family. And I know a lot of people just don't like those guys, and that's okay. That's fine. But I'm saying, what they did at the trade deadline is they addressed two big things that really were, as I always like to say, a bugaboo, right, for this Cowboys defense. They were really hurting in the pass rush and the run stopping. And they were hurting in the speed department and the linebackers. And now you're seeing a completely new defense. Think about that. Think about the fact that we're rotating now. Guys like Osa, Kenny Clark. Now you got Quinnen Williams. Now you got Perion Winfrey on his way back, who's another massive body to get back. And like you said earlier about the corners, just cover enough. Guys like Reddy Stewart and we mentioned Kalen Carson. They're not your household names, but you don't have to be on a team like this if you get the pressure up front. Yeah. The Eagles' offensive line is hampered a little bit. Can they get the Hurts? Now, that's another thing. We didn't have Overshawn in week 1. Keith, do you think that Overshawn is going to say, Hurts, you're not going anywhere? Do you think we need a spy on a guy like Hurts based off of what he did in week 1?
Yeah, we're going to need a spy. You might want to use, believe it or not, is on that is Murray for me. Only because he, like I said, I don't know his football intelligence, but I know he can ball, and I know he's not afraid to hit. And if he just has to follow a player with his speed and the way he likes to direct people, I mean, I would like him to. I would prefer him to be outgoing, spying.
You're taking the thought process out of everything. You know what I'm saying? like you just said, like that's see ball, get ball. See number one, go get number one.
You just
Hang out
walk
with
him and get him, yeah. Because that's what I like about him. And I know, like he was awful against the run, one of the worst last year apparently. But watching him, he's not a bitch, dude. And you know, he's gonna go come in and hit you if he can figure out where you're going. He's coming after you, and I like that. The whole thing is getting there because you got these like the most athletic people in America playing offensive line that if you take one wrong angle and you're not thinking correctly, you're out of the play.
Right.
You know, but if he guesses right, I should say, it's nice, you know.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it is. So all right. Well, look, let's summarize how we think this one's gonna shake out. I would ask Brett, but he's been frozen the entire time. I'm sure Brett on paper thinks the Cowboys can win. Will they? I don't know. So that would be Brett's prediction. And then he would wait for you to respond. And then he would say, I agree with my brother.
Exactly.
So I heard some stories about you over on Monday over some beers. So that was some good stuff. Just based off of how scrappy you used to be and how he would get great pleasure in watching you beat somebody up. Those are the good old days. But all right, Keith, I'll give it to you first.
All right.
Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, late window. Here we go.
I probably home on broke it down what I was saying before. I got a good feeling about this game, and you don't normally hear that come from me.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I'm taking it game by game. I don't know if I would have that same feeling if we were playing the Chiefs, but just that it's the Eagles and how we played them the first week. And like I said, it's not a team we're not familiar with. And under those circumstances with this offense, I like our chances in this game. And the whole thing is though, it's so hard to pick a score here, but I could see us putting up, I'll say 30, and I'll go with them. I want to say 24. I say 30-24.
30-24 Cowboys win. I'm very similar.
I think we're in control most of the game, and then there's a little spurt of a comeback at the end where they maybe it's 30-17, and then they score a garbage touchdown and then try to kick it onside or something like that.
Yeah,
so I like a 30-24.
I don't know if I can handle that, but I will say that when you look at Philadelphia, they've won a lot of football games. We've said it a bunch of times. Their defense is really good. Their defense is a championship kind of defense, I think. Right? They got Cooper DeJean and guys that are just, balling everywhere. Mm-hmm. But the Cowboys have an offense where I think they can score multiple ways, right? Obviously, we've seen Javonte do his thing. When Dak is in space and he's got CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and Ferg and even guys like Ryan Flournoy playing in and Turpin sometimes. And there's a lot of weapons at his disposal. I don't think they get to 30 this week. Okay. I'll give them 3 short. I'll give them the Cowboys 27.
Okay.
And I'll say that the Eagles score 23, right? I like the Cowboys in this game only for the sole purpose of you're back home now. You just played a really good complimentary football game. The Eagles did not look their best at home the other night. And I don't think the Eagles, again, they're very good. They're in first place. They're the 1 seed, all that fun shit. I get it. But they're beatable. And I think the Cowboys put some people on notice a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to go on some fantastic journey run. I'm saying that the Cowboys can beat the Eagles in this week, get back to 500 ball, even though with the tie, they'll be 5-5-1, and they'll be in striking distance, and they'll make it interesting down the stretch, right? You got some crazy games coming up. Thanksgiving, you got the week after Thanksgiving, then you got Minnesota somewhere in there, and then you got the Chargers somewhere in there. So there's a lot of games on the schedule that when the schedule came out, I'm like, ooh, those are going to be tough. But now you look at Minnesota's, you look at Chargers, you look at all these teams that are like, you know what? They can be had too. So, look, anything can happen, but it has to start with a win this week. And I think the Cowboys will get it done. I really do.
What is so I just looked it up. The most points scored, right, against the Eagles this year, against the defense. And I don't know if there's some interceptions in there or whatever, just the total points. I don't know if the offense committed a turnover. That's what I mean. But total points against the Eagles were 34 when they lost. So then closest to that is Let me see here.
Probably. What about the Giants?
Rams put 26.
Okay.
I just said that 37. You hear me?
Oh, you said the Giants when they scored 34. Okay.
Oh, you didn't hear what I said?
Yeah, no, you broke up a little bit, but that's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Giants scored 34 on them. That's the highest amount of points that were scored against them. Second is the Rams at 26. Third is the Bucs at 25. That's how much has been. That's who they've been able to move the ball.
And I can tell you right now, the Cowboys offense is obviously better than the Giants, right? But the Giants, that was just, like I said, an anomaly type thing, I think. But when it comes to like the Rams and the Bucs, I think we're right there with those teams offensively. So
definitely the Bucs.
Definitely the Bucs. The Rams are looking like they could be primed for a run this year, to be honest with you.
Stafford's in that matrix, bro. He's in that matrix right now that I never really was. I'm not going to lie. Even though he won a Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff, I was never this guy's an elite guy. He is now. When you play this long, and that's what's happened in the Dak too, and I keep saying I'm not going to fall for it. I'm not going to fall for it. Well, it's very reminiscent of when Romo finally got it. And his 2014 season. And, it's just like you play long enough, you start long enough, you start seeing the field differently.
Yeah.
You just do. I mean, look at people later in life, like a Rich Gannon, who went to the Raiders and just was an NFL MVP. He couldn't start on the Chiefs. He couldn't start on the Vikings, but he played for so long and started for so long that he finally started to see it, And,
Romo got into that mode where I stopped panicking every time he dropped back.
Yeah.
Right. You knew that he was going to lace something nice. And I think that's what Dak's doing right now. And I think Dak's playing the best ball he's ever played. And again, this is this stretch of games right here where it seems like we have 1 billion games in 3 weeks, which is true.
So you think we can afford to lose one of these, you think, and still make it?
I do. And I think that if you're going to lose one, I don't want to lose on Thanksgiving, but if we had to lose a game, let it be on the AFC game against the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Like that, obviously for obvious reasons, but can you get to because after this 3-game stretch, if you win 2 of them, that gives you 6 wins and 1 loss. You'll be 6-6-1. That'll be 13 games in with 4 to go. If you run the table, you finish 10-6-1 and more than likely get in the playoffs. So they can definitely drop one and be okay. But like Peter Schrager said, he thinks they can run the table on this next 3 games. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I know they like the clicks and stuff like that for ESPNs and the FS1s of the world. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Tune in on Sunday afternoon. We'll be back next week to recover and recap the whole game. And Brett will probably be back with us next week. And we'll talk about the Cowboys and the Eagles. So for Dave Sturchio and Keith Ernst, we'll see you guys next week. Let's go Cowboys. Subscribe to the podcast, everybody. Thank you so much.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Well, whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?